Well, if you're wondering about remedies for the heart and how to move from grief to growth, this is a discussion that you do not want to miss. Today we are unpacking loss. Joining us today, our three guests, Marelize, our homeopath, Aisha O'Reilly, our mom of three, as well as our social entrepreneur, and then someone who I respect very much, Lizl Ross, our mental health counselor. What happens to our bodies when we experience loss or the feeling of not having any more?
The process of grief affects us mentally, emotionally, and physically. The physical symptoms could be losing your appetite, not being able to sleep, feeling weak, having headaches and body aches. And then mentally and emotionally, there is anything from sadness to a sense of loss and numbness and regret, and sometimes even a little bit of relief, which if someone was suffering and now they've moved on.
Aisha, take me through your journey of having and then feeling like you're not going to have any more. You've got three beautiful children. I do. Do you remember the last time you were sad or feeling like you've missed out, specifically loss or grief?
Probably like a year or so after I had my last baby. So final. I think that's what it is. It's like, this is my last child. This is the last time I'm going to experience this. I just kept telling myself, I'm going to be so happy when I'm done making babies. I didn't prepare because I honestly didn't think that I was going to feel this way. This has surprised me.
It's the same sense of grief that a parent has when their child moves from stage to stage.
There's a lot of topics that are almost taboo and unspoken of. I think grief and loss is one of them.
I think it's also one of those things I haven't really, as with a lot of topics around motherhood, I haven't really come across a lot of these kinds of conversations where women, speak about, this is how I felt when I stopped having children, or this is how I felt when my child, left the home.
Know that is going to happen. Try and prepare yourself for it. Once it does happen, grieve. If you hold on, you're prolonging your grief. So you need to prepare. A good idea with that is try to make the transition, if you can say, a joyous transition, so that you have joy with the grief. And that can help to make the grief better. Yes, your life's hectic, but there's going to be that one moment of self-care that we all have to do each day. And take that one moment of self-care and grieve, even if it's just for a minute. There's different ways of doing it, but you have to make time to acknowledge the fact that you're grieving.
Yeah. I never thought of grieving as self-care.
I was thinking the same thing.
No, grieving is the moisturizer of the heart.
Oh, I like that. Yes, baby.
We want some gentle support for our moms. What are you giving me?
From a homeopathic point of view, there are remedies. We've got remedies that are individually for, someone who's got grief because of loss of a loved one. There's a remedy like Nat Mur, for example, is particularly for giving up something that you've loved so much, like the process of motherhood. Or if you find that you're crying uncontrollably and it's sobbing and sighing and all of that, there's a specific homeopathic remedy for like that. It's called Ignatia. There's one called Star of Bethlehem, which is specifically for long-term grief. And by taking it for a long, long, long time, it unknots all those deep-seated emotions that you maybe haven't coped with or dealt with yet. It just gives you that moment of just being able to deal with it. As moms who are holding the whole ship together. So if you're driving in your car and a song comes on and it makes you sad, cry it out. It's actually about that emotion that's been sitting on my back for the last 3 weeks, and it's just getting out a little bit at a time.
Your feelings are so spiked in the beginning. It's almost too much to handle. If you can use something natural just to restore, even if it's a semblance of calm.
I want you to take me through the steps of grief and point them on your fingers, even if you read them.
Denial, anger, bargaining. And for me, bargaining is guilt. If I had done only this. Depression. It's done, it's over, there's nothing I can do about it. And then acceptance. It's done, it's over. I still feel bad, but there's nothing I can do. And then closure. Everyone's closure looks different. But if you can accept your closure, you've made great gains.
Ladies, insightful, thank you so much for opening your hearts and your minds. We want to remind you that you are not alone. A big thanks once again to Natura Rescue for making this possible and for bringing us all together to have very difficult conversations and to be able to give you advice. Leave some notes in the comments and discuss this further. Maybe show it to your partner and just know that you're loved.